Hey weirdos, welcome to another episode of our Halloween Horror Fest, week 2.
Fest?
I screwed up that title, but I don't care. We watched 8 movies this week.
I think it's like a Halloween, just Halloween movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
Most movies are horror films, so that's what we were talking about this week anyway, is like people were misinterpreting what a horror film is.
Yeah.
I think people generally think horror films are just slaughter films.
Blood and guts.
Blood and guts. But no, there's so many
There's a range.
There's a whole many subgenres of horror films. There's mysteries, thrillers, suspense, and the ghosty things. Like, there's so many. So I've had that. So many people tell us that's not really a horror film, and I'm like, oh, it's scary.
Yeah. Now,
it scares me more than a slaughter movie.
Were they making a judgment like, oh, you shouldn't watch that, you shouldn't count that? Or were they just saying, I saw that, I didn't think it was scary?
I don't know. Maybe they're saying it doesn't count as a horror, but I'm not. We're saying Halloween/horror, but we shouldn't have to do that because everything we're watching, besides maybe one, is more of a lightweight one.
Yeah.
But everything else definitely qualifies as horror.
Plus, it's our list.
And our favorite
we get to pick what we watch.
Yeah, and our favorite kind of scary movies are sort of the Hitchcock sort of suspense thrillers. That scares me more than anything, like ghosty things. Like a thriller for sure scares me way more than watching someone's head get cut off 1,000 times and guts being like Saw. That's not my thing.
Yeah, we don't love endless disgusting violence.
Endless violence is I mean, we watched one this last week that was pretty violent. But I really like to be scared in a creepy way.
Right.
And that's
less graphic, less gory. It's not what we're going for.
Not that I won't watch that, because I like Halloween and all those other movies too.
Right.
But I've seen them, and I like trying to watch things I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
There is some stuff we trickle in that we have to see every year. But I feel like people need to rethink what they think horror is, because horror is a lot of different things.
Or be open to the fact that maybe it's wider than just what you like. Because we like some dark, cheesy comedies too.
Oh yeah, there's horror comedy too. That's
just kind of bad movies, but they're so bad they're
like
good. Like
Zomboat.
Yeah, a fantastic series that you should watch.
Yeah, that's still in the horror genre. It's zombies, it's murder, it's just different. Yeah. So I just think that when we tell people we're watching horror movies or whatever, they're like, oh, it's gross. And I was like, no. There's some actually really good suspenseful thrillers in there that are awesome. They're not all slashers.
As much as
maybe you should call those movies slashers.
And that's why when you go to Shudder, there are those subcategories.
There's like neo horror.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that is.
New horror. Yeah.
Is that what it means? New?
New modern movies.
Okay, so maybe people are thinking that's what it is now. So,
but for us, like we both enjoyed and were a bit disturbed by Saw, the first original Saw, when we saw it the first time.
And I was done.
Exactly.
The first one was all you needed. I thought it was good.
It's all we needed.
But I don't need 15 more of them.
Yeah.
Are they on like 15 now?
No idea.
Okay. I mean, not knocking the whole thing, but hey,
too.
If people are watching, then great. I just think there's a lot more amazing horror films out there that have more thought behind them.
Right. And in this week, which we're going to get started on, there's only a couple ones that were really amazing.
Yeah, it started off bad.
We had some stinkers, but let's get into it. Our first one, you'll probably laugh at.
There might be a hint of which one was this week.
There is, but that's going to come later. The hint is actually here.
Look, he's going into the dark.
And it's Haunted Mansion Muppets. Fantastic. This movie had 3 things that I like. Can I say what they are?
Yeah.
Muppets. 2, Haunted Mansion.
King Shrimp.
And the third thing is not a lot of Miss Piggy.
Yes. They took her head off and put it in a ball.
Yeah. Miss Piggy was Madame Leota.
Madame Leota.
I don't hate Miss Piggy, but Miss Piggy is the center of abusive relationship.
She is. She's very abusive to Kermit. Yeah. Like, I feel like they've kind of recognized that and they've kind of stopped
Dialed her down.
I can't remember how many times in my childhood where I hear her go, hi-ya! And she's like hurting someone.
Right.
She's got a temper. We all know this, but she needs to get therapy.
Yeah, they need to split up, I think. They need some separation.
I think they do need to split up.
Yeah,
Kermit
I don't think
does
it's working
better
out
on his own.
I think he would really thrive.
I don't hate Miss Piggy. She's not my favorite. Kermit's always been my favorite.
She needs to go to anger management. I'm gonna. What is in the air?
Ghost.
Good God. Okay.
I open the window, so now I've lit all in the.
I think that's what it is.
The outside world.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, Miss Piggy. She. I don't know. She's not my favorite.
Oh, and this is like my screensaver. You probably won't be able to see it.
Haunted Mansions. We love Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion. With the Muppets. Oh, it went away.
So, what did you think of this version of Haunted Mansion? Because there was a movie with Eddie Murphy that was awful.
Oh, I didn't think it was awful. Enjoyable. It gave me something.
Which one?
The old Eddie Murphy one.
It gave you something?
It was fine.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Well,
I mean, it's not great either. I'm not going to say it was great, but it was fine. I'd probably watch it again one day just because I love Haunted Mansion so much.
Maybe that's what it is. We both love Haunted Mansion. It's usually one of our first rides when we ever go to the Magic Kingdom. You've never been to Disneyland. We're going to get there this year, post-pandemic. Mm-hmm. We'll probably go on Haunted Mansion first. Mm-hmm. We love it.
That Haunted Mansion is my favorite.
And this version was kind of cute. Mm-hmm. Gonzo was the star. Who saw that coming?
I love that they made Gonzo the star.
And the shrimp.
And the shrimp king shrimp. Which I never knew he was a king shrimp. I just thought he was a stick figure of Muppets. I didn't think he was anything, but I didn't realize he was a shrimp, and I should have because he has all the little things.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I never knew that.
And it has Will Arnett in it.
Yes,
who was not too distracting as Will Arnett. I love Will Arnett, but it was enjoyable, and it had some other great cameos in it. Muppets always
the best cameo.
Oh, yeah.
Is Kim Irvin, who is the Madame Leota inside the ball in Haunted Mansion. She guest starred on it as the maid in the thing.
Right.
So she's also an Imagineer. So
is she?
Yes.
Oh, that's
They're
cool.
calling her an Imagineer, known for her work on the Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. But she made an amazing appearance, and I knew that was her. I just knew it was. I can just tell from her face.
So a classic movie. I mean, I think last week we didn't always rate every single movie, so I'm going to make sure that we do that this time. Yeah. So out of 5, how are you going to rate this?
It's going to be 5. I can't ever not love a Muppet movie. I loved it. And you put Muppets with Haunted Mansion, it was genius.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I needed.
There's fun little Muppet ghosts.
It's so cute and adorable and creepy at the same time. I just like it all.
It's got a cute little story of why Gonzo is going to the Haunted Mansion and sort of the test that he does. I don't know if kids might find any parts scary. I wasn't thinking about that when I was watching it.
I don't think that's what I'm saying. This is the only lightweight one we watched. Yeah. It's just in the season of things.
Yeah.
But that's why we're calling it horror/Halloween, because we might fit in like a Nightmare Before Christmas, which classic. I argue that it's not a Halloween movie; it's a Christmas movie because it takes place at Christmas.
Well, you know what? We could watch Corpse Bride again because I've not seen that in 15 years. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
That would be good.
Yeah, I don't know. So you're gonna give it 5 out of 5. I'll give it 5 out of 5 too, because again, it's just so enjoyable. It's so bloody entertaining. There was nothing annoying. There's cute little end credits. There's a catchy little song in the end. Like it all just kind of is just fun.
What was the song they did in end credits?
Can't remember.
Oh God, it was so cute.
Yeah.
Dang it. Well, you got to watch it and see, because the end credits, the songs are super cute. Yeah. It was a good one. It's a good Halloween movie for your whole family.
Exactly.
I love it. And
there's probably not really that many besides Charlie Brown's Great Pumpkin, like family friendly. I'm sure there is. I'm just not aware of them.
I was just trying to think if there's another Muppet movie that's Halloween.
I don't know if there is or not. If there is, let us know in the comments, because I can't think of one.
Gonzo goes to space? But I don't know if that's really... I don't know. I had to think about that one. Yeah. Muppets Take Manhattan's always been my favorite. But I feel like this now is right up there with Muppets Take Manhattan.
Wow, that's high praise.
It's super cute.
Will you watch this again every Halloween?
I would watch this like 5 more times this month.
Well, you might watch this also just doesn't have to be Halloween. Just because
I want the soundtrack.
Because you love Haunted Mansion so much.
Yes, I do. Cool. I literally listen to Haunted Mansion soundtrack when I put on my makeup.
It's a great soundtrack.
And followed by Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right.
This is what I do.
So our second movie is The Banishing, and I'm just going to read this out. The Banishing tells the story of the most haunted house in England. In the 1930s, a young reverend, his wife, and daughter move into a manor with a horrifying secret. The horrifying secret to me was this movie sucks.
It's beautiful.
Is.
I love the 1930s, and it has the chick from Harlots. What the hell's her name?
Something Findlay.
Yes. I got rid of...
Her name is Jessica Brown Findlay.
Yes. I wrote, it's a slow start, a weekend in, and has the girl from Harlots. That's all I wrote because I was so mad that this movie didn't go anywhere. I mean, it's just her going, what was that? What was that? Oh, that's fine. I'll just go on. I go on and play. What time is it with my stepdaughter?
Right. There was a couple of things in it that were neat. There was a couple of neat effects because there's a lot of stuff that goes on with mirrors. Kid walks into a mirror. The kid is missing. I just ultimately didn't connect with the movie. So I don't know if it was my mood I was in. I don't know if I fell asleep partway through it. It's just
I don't think you did. Her stepdaughter did walk into the mirror. Like a full body mirror. She went into the mirror and then she watched her walk into it. She didn't go try to stop her. Like if you saw your kid or stepkid go into there, you'd be like, no.
Right.
She just walked and like, I wonder what's going to happen with this. I should just watch.
Did we watch this in 2 parts? Did we start it one night and finish it the next night? Or did we watch it all in one sitting?
All in one sitting, I think.
We did? Okay.
All one sitting. Yeah.
Well, I mean, again.
It's one of those new movies that were put up too, was made this year.
Yeah.
It's considered a crime, horror, and mystery film.
And I don't think it's not a terrible movie, but it's just not that interesting. There's other stuff probably that we're going to watch is going to be a lot better. If you want to
watch it for the 1930s aesthetic, then do it. I mean, you're going to be disappointed in the ending because the ending just didn't. Yeah. You're like, I put all this time in and I get nothing.
Yeah. It's a skip. It's a skip.
It's a skip. It's sad. Sadly, it's beautifully filmed, but it's a skip for sure. So
I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5.
Yeah, we can't go any lower because it's either 1 or 5.
You can give it a finger. That could be a rating. I don't think it was terrible. It just was uninteresting. It didn't excite me.
Yeah, but you don't want to commit that time into a movie and then the ending just be nothing.
That's true.
That sucks. That happens so many times in movies.
Not when you could rewatch Muppets Haunted Mansion again.
Yeah, or some of the other ones that we watched. Yeah, anything other than that.
Do you want to move on to number 3?
Yes, I'm getting confused. You mean number 10, actually.
This is day number 10. Yeah, there's a better way to say it.
That was 8, 9, and now we're 10.
Right, okay.
Oh, this one's going to piss me off, too.
This was a brand new movie. I'm having a mojito, and I'm chewing on some mint, which is very lovely. We made.
You ate the mint?
Why not? I accidentally swallowed mint earlier when I took a sip through the straw, and it just blasted right back into my throat. But now I'm getting chewing stuff, and I got beautiful
Mine's really
fresh breath.
loud because it's such a big cup. It's like,
Sam needs your attention.
He gets shadowed out from microphones.
You gotta learn that.
I gotta go low.
Once you become that talk show host, you'll be able to know how to find that camera.
We'll have more space, and we'll have like mics on us.
Exactly. Day number 10, the movie was Malignant. Great title.
2021 movie.
Good looking trailer.
Yep.
Director was James Wan. Story by James Wan. Written by somebody else. He's written some very famous.
Is this the guy I'll never watch any one of his films ever again?
Yeah, this was terrible. This movie was awful.
He's a Saw person.
He wrote, so he's done a lot of story. He has a lot of story by credits, and then he gets other people to write it.
He doesn't. He just goes, I have an idea.
Against the guy because Hitchcock actually didn't write his movies either, but he came up with a lot of the stories. So I think he wrote Saw. Or came up with Saw.
Well, not all his stories were his.
There's a bunch of stuff that he's seen. There's a bunch of other stuff I've never seen. I think The Conjuring is his. There's a handful of other things.
Which we've never seen.
The guy's built an empire. He's known for horror.
Empire of everybody else's work.
Ouch. That's what my dream
Isn't that a lot of times what happens though?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Joe Jackson did that.
I like my notes where I put a...
Come on, I just made a Joe Jackson joke and you didn't even catch it.
You're not going to see it.
I can insert it.
Okay, my notes has a little thumbs down emoji on it.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was so mad that I put a thumbs down emoji on it.
Okay, we're going to spoil this movie. If you don't even watch this movie. This movie is terrible. There's some groovy stuff in here. You've got
if you want to laugh.
Oh, great point.
If you want it's I think they were trying to go for a B movie.
No, I don't think so. But there's a reveal in this movie where both of us burst out laughing.
We just burst out laughing so hard. Yeah.
We didn't laugh at some of the sort of more comedy movies. I didn't laugh this hard. This movie was supposed to be serious. This movie has a reveal that is so ridiculously stupid. I don't know how this ever got made and why somebody went,
I feel
let's
like
do this.
The bones were there for the story, but it was done horribly wrong.
Right.
I mean, it feels like
Bones is a good...
The star might be a T-Rex in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't help but laugh at the scene.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
My God. Okay.
But this movie... some of the performances in this are so bad. There's 2 cops in this that are really wooden, boring. There's some scary stuff. There's some stylized violence in here, which is... It's just like... You've got some style, but there's no substance. She really is
athletic when she becomes this person.
Yeah. So to completely spoil this, she's hearing voices. It reveals that she's adopted. She's got a sister who didn't know she was adopted. This girl might be a little bit crazy. Turns out that somebody is hunting down all these doctors. She sees the murders happening. She can see when people are being murdered in real time. People start thinking that she's the one that's murdering people.
Was that just memories?
No, because and when you get to the reveal, she's got her twin brother growing out the back of her head.
But not always. It goes in and out.
Well, no. Here's the thing.
He comes out when he wants to.
He was a parasitic conjoined twin. I feel
like we're making him want to see this.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
He just goes in and out of the back of her head.
They got to the point where they needed to perform a surgery, and they removed him.
They thought
cut most of him,
but not
off.
His soul.
No, but also his brain was still there.
Yeah,
tucked him inside the back of her brain.
Oh, they didn't do it all the way like they said they were gonna do. They were like they just kind of. They took out...
It's probably too dangerous.
They took out some of the pieces, and then they tucked the rest back in.
Right.
And then they sewed her up. And she has no scarring.
And so early in the movie, she again is in an abusive relationship. Her boyfriend, her husband, slams her against a wall. That triggers something.
Oh, I guess
this guy back to life.
The slam against the wall triggers that, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, these murders start happening. And then blah, 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 blah. So stylistically, it's cool. Most of it is...
It had potential to be interesting. It was filmed in Seattle, so they used the underground tunnel, the underground city in Seattle, which was kind of cool. I felt like that's a great place to film a horror film because I feel like it's set up that way, and they messed it up. They could have done so much better. Because it turns out the tour guide of the underground tunnel was the mother.
Right. All these connections that would never happen in real life. But
I'm gonna read my notes because you need to help me make sense of my notes again because I said sounds like Batman is killing everyone.
Sounds like Batman is killing everyone. I think there was a voice.
Sounds like Batman's killing everyone. I feel like there was some kind of voice at the beginning that sounded like that was thing. Not really sure if this is a strong enough movie, which we were right about. And then I wrote brain face because the brother has a brain face.
The brother has a brain face?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because there were some flashbacks where they show this figure and it was the brother. And we're like, what is that? What's going on? And it was...
It's just a brain face.
Which is weird because
like the brain in the jar in that one movie?
His face is in the back of her head.
But it's like really like distorted, but his eyeballs...
Yeah.
Like it's...
Unless in those scenes, and I'm never going to go back and watch this movie to find out, but maybe in those scenes they were spun around and you couldn't see her on the other side because that would have ruined things.
Well, she'd always wake up with blood on the pillow from the back of her head.
Right. So that was later.
Yeah. And then I wrote, focus too much on style than storyline.
Yep.
Parked car on the edge of... You know when they went to that old hospital?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they parked... She pulled up the car.
Yeah.
Or her sister... drove the car to the edge of the mountain and then slammed on the brakes and got out of the car. Like, that's where she chose to park.
Like you do. Also, you build mental institution
out
in the middle of nowhere on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah. On the cliff. Actually, I'd like to know where that house is because I want to go there.
I think that was Bill Gates' house.
Was it?
No.
I was actually believing you. Like, well, it could be.
Yeah. That's good.
It's where he unloads all his laptops over the window over the side of the.
Yeah.
And I said, found tapes way too easy in the old hospital.
Oh, right.
The hospital was massive, and the sister went to go find information about her sister.
Yeah.
Because that's where she was, and they had notes in there. So when they closed the hospital, they didn't take anything with them. They left everything. It's like they we're done.
Right.
All the personal files were just left there, and she found them so fast.
It's probably alphabetical. She probably just.
But she found the place where they were.
No, it was completely like unorganized.
It's like a freaking castle.
It was like going to like a basically like a what do you call those folks that hoarders? It basically was like going into a hoarder's room and going, here it is.
But everything, hospital equipment, beds, everything was left in there. I don't know how she found them. Yeah. And then I wrote garbage storyline, which we've already established. And I wrote T-Rex arms because that's the part when the brother comes out, her body, she flips around and the elbows flip that way.
Why don't we quickly demonstrate what it looked like?
Who, me?
I can't. No, just turn back to back and then...
I can't.
It's not totally not going to work.
Oh, you mean like
imagine
this?
Imagine like you're a nice lady and you're doing things and I'm in your back going... That's the movie.
But even
that's
more
the reveal.
so.
But I'm little.
You're
smaller.
You're like, imagine like a little puppet on the back of you.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Like Kermit.
So it was like, yeah.
You know, really pissed off Kermit.
But
strapped
it was a
to the
skeleton,
back of your head.
But it was like skeleton and a brain face.
Yeah.
And it's just this, when the brother takes over, her feet and everything, she runs backwards.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it looks odd when she's running, but then she'll get down like a dog.
Yeah.
It's just fast forward to that part so you can see.
No, never watched this movie.
Maybe put a screenshot in the YouTube version of.
That might have been better than our reenactment, but I liked the
maybe put that on top of our reenactment. All I do is like
way too much about this movie.
I always just do this.
Yeah.
And how do you fight people like this?
Well, yeah, it's. Actually, I hated this movie from the beginning because my first note is opening credits felt like a CSI and completely out of place.
Yeah.
Now those credits were basically telling the whole story, but you didn't realize it. But anyways, I want to get on.
But I want to say I was getting through the rest of my notes.
Oh, sorry.
But it's kind of repetitive what we already said. But the part where the sister, when the brother takes over her and she doesn't know what's happening. She's figured out how to take over her brother now.
Right.
So there was a horrifying scene where her sister gets shot in the head and everything. The mom gets killed and they all die. And we're like, oh my God.
Right.
But that was just her making him think that.
How did she do that?
She figured it out all of a sudden.
She thought it?
And then
it makes no sense.
When the sister wakes up from being knocked into the corner, she can't lift the table off of her. Her sister can't lift the table off of her.
Right.
And then she says,
a hospital bed.
Then she says, it was my body. If I can lift it, so can I.
Oh, because the brother threw it on her to begin with, kind of thing.
So she's saying she could.
Again,
and then the last thing I wrote was worst dialogue and subpar acting.
Yeah.
That was the other bad thing, is the acting. The acting was not good at all.
No, it just wasn't. Skip this movie. Out of 5 stars. We'll put
up a screenshot if you watch the YouTube version of what the body looks like when they T-Rex.
It's a good idea.
That's the only part you need to see because that's ridiculous.
I'll do a side-by-side of our reenactment and that, and you'll see how amazing our interpretation
is. But
it
have to be much, much smaller.
Yeah.
Because it's just this little thing on the back of her.
Yeah.
Like if she turned, you would never see it until she turns around and has this.
Right.
I'm just going to do this the whole time.
You should.
Okay. We're going to get rid of this one.
Day 11.
One of my favorite movies from my childhood.
Yeah.
A rewatch.
I had never even heard of this. I've heard about that. You showed it to me probably like 10 years ago, but I didn't grow up with this movie. I've now come to love it as well. I love it
so much.
This is great. We should have watched this on the 14th day. I was really hoping we'd get a Saturday the 14th. We didn't. We do tend to watch this movie every Saturday the 14th.
Every time it's Saturday 14th, I try to watch it.
Yeah. Give me the lowdown. What is this movie?
This movie.
How would you explain it?
Okay. First of all, my favorite line in the whole movie is "There's a bat in the belfry." Every time. I just love that.
You say that.
I want a house with a belfry.
This is a bit of a comedy.
It's a comedy. It's a relative dies, and they all go to the reading of the will, and then the unexpected family member inherits the house. Yep. Meanwhile, these two vampires on the side want the house because they know what's in the house, and they're trying to buy the house, but they're like, sorry, you can't buy it because this other family is inheriting it, so you can't. So you have to talk to them. And then all the other family members are pissed because they got the house. So they go to the house. It's a super old house. And what's funny is when they first arrive, the wife's looking across the street at this beautiful house. And she's like, oh, it's so nice. And he goes, no, it's this one behind us. And it's this old rundown house, which is actually a real house in California.
Wow.
So, okay, they move into the house. And what I love about it is they go into the house. It's all the furniture still there. It's all old and spiderwebby, what you expect in it.
Yeah.
And the son finds a book in the house.
The Book of Evil.
The Book of Evil. And every time he turns a page, a monster comes out of the book. And that means a monster is released into the house.
Right.
But these monsters are comedic because they're scary. Like there's the Loch Ness monster that comes in the tub when the daughter's taking a bath. There's like massive gloves in the kitchen sink because they keep cleaning the kitchen before. They have little parties in the kitchen at night, all these monsters, and they clean the kitchen at night. And they somehow have a giant dish gloves. Of
course.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of those 80s classic comedy horror films that are just amazing. And it's
got great gags in it.
So many great people in it.
Yeah.
And they've got to get these monsters back in the book, and there's people competing to get the house because of the book, and you'll rule the world if you get the book.
Right.
I don't want to ruin it too much, but it is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, that's all the notes I wrote because there's nothing. I just love it all. And it was 1981, but it is a house in California. I can't remember where, but they're labeling it as crime horror, but I kind of feel like it's not. Maybe I didn't write that right. Did you have it up there?
A crime horror?
No, I think I might not have wrote here. A comedy fantasy horror.
Yeah, that makes more sense. It is one of these movies that is just really, really enjoyable. Obviously, the title of it is making fun of something. Friday the 13th. It's just a fun comedy. It's that right level of cheese.
What's the tagline? I never put the tagline in. The tagline's good because just when you thought it's on the IMDb.
Okay. Just when you thought it was safe to look at the calendar again.
I just love it. The movie poster is amazing. It's just super adorable.
It's got Jeffrey Tambor in it.
It's so cute.
Younger Jeffrey Tambor.
Yeah, so they're basically trying to get these monsters back in the book, and the wife is possessed because the vampire bit her through the night.
Is she possessed or she's?
I guess she's not.
She's sort of on her way to becoming a vampire. Well,
she was bit.
But she's also then becomes she can't handle the daylight. She's out of it.
Slowly, yeah. But she is sort of. He's sort of
under control.
Yeah, he's doing. Is it called mesmerize?
Sure. Yeah.
She's doing that to her at the same time, so she'll do things for him because he's still trying to get the house. But also the guy that comes and helps him, who's like a expert in the field, also wants the house. He ends up being evil too.
Right.
So yeah, it's
because
just,
people want the book. People
want the book. They don't care about the house. They just want the book.
Yeah.
I love this movie, and I'll watch it 1,000 times. That and Waxworks.
So I'm going to assume you're going to give this movie 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5 every time.
Yeah. Again, I've just grown to love this movie too, and part of it is just how much that you loved it. I remember the first time I saw it, like it was pretty entertaining. I enjoy it every time we watch it.
I hope I explained it enough. I don't want to ruin it too much because if you've never seen it, which if you grew up in the 80s like I did, you probably did see it.
I grew up in the 80s and I had never seen it.
Well, you're Canadian, so.
Ouch.
You never seen Labyrinth before I met you.
Okay, Labyrinth, I don't know why. Again, Muppets, David Bowie.
Yeah.
I used to look at this movie in the video store, see the cassette there.
Yeah.
Knew it was Jim Henson, said Jim Henson on it, and chose not to rent it.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Why. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have the time.
It's not like it was behind the curtain where the special movies were that I couldn't see. It was right there, plumb for the taking. I don't know. I've never seen it.
I don't know why you never watched it.
It's
up your wheelhouse.
Almost 30 before we saw this movie. I think I was late 20s.
That, and you never saw Dark Crystal either.
Again. Knew it was there. Jim Henson.
Why?
don't know.
Did you have like a hatred for Jim Henson then?
No, I had a love for Jim Henson.
Man, you missed out on so much.
I know, I did, yeah.
That's like the prime where you put that in your head because it was so awesome.
Again,
like,
it has everything.
You missed out on
wheelhouse.
years of Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
Like, love.
It's true. I know. I know.
You know how many people loved her after that? Like,
everyone. I did.
I know everybody had a crush on her.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What are we on, day 12?
Day 12. Oh, God, another shithole.
Day 12, the movie is called House. A troubled writer moves into a haunted house after inheriting it from his aunt. Hey, that sounds exactly like Saturday the 14th.
It is.
Except that movie's good. This one's balls.
This one is balls. It's a comedy horror fantasy, and it was filmed in Monrovia, California. I'm probably saying that completely wrong.
That looks right.
Monrovia?
Sure.
Sounds like a place like that you go and rule.
It stars William Catt, who you might know. You might know him as the greatest American hero.
Actually, the Kay Lens too.
Yeah,
she's famous.
She is famous.
Yeah.
Don't remember what she was in. I could click on this, but I'm not going to.
You reckon she was in like all the '80s TV shows, everything. She was in Magnum PI. She was in everything.
Okay.
If you've everything, if you name the '80s show, she was probably in it. Right. Like literally everyone. Charles in Charge. She was in it all.
Gotcha. This movie was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember anything that really stood out as being exceptional.
There were so many stupid things. Like he inherited his house and then things happen. He keeps things come out of the closet. Like his dragon
fish
thing
on the wall.
The fish in the wall talk like a baby.
Yeah.
Another baby voice out of I wrote that as one of my notes.
What year was this, by the way?
85.
Okay, so this is 4 years after.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
And my only notes are baby voice out of Swordfish, LOL. Skeleton bat is the great with the rifle, and then hated it. I'm just going to skip to the very end because that's my favorite part.
Okay.
And he jumps into the medicine cabinet. It's a big black hole in there. That's where all the evil's coming out of in the house.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is a skeleton bat that flies up.
Oh, wow.
He takes his rifle, and the skeleton bat is a fucking amazing with the rifle. He flung it around and got it and pointed it right back at him.
Basically did that cool thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger did in T2 when he grabs the gun and flips it and it cocks it
and then it's ready to shoot. He took it from him.
Yeah.
And then that was the coolest part about the whole thing.
Completely out of place in the movie.
That probably took all the money to do that.
Also the highlight of the movie.
It was the best part.
Yeah.
But basically like everybody thinks he's crazy because is he widowed? He was he was widowed, I think, or lost a kid or something. Where he's just
that's
war
right.
He's a war veteran.
House.
He's a war veteran.
Right. So there's a
everybody
Vietnam
think he's got
going on,
postpartum.
but their kid went missing.
No, I said postpartum.
Post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, everybody thinks he has that.
Yeah.
And so the neighbor thinks he's crazy. He's calling his ex-wife, who's the leany girl. Whatever her name.
The neighbor is George Wendt. Norm from Cheers.
Yeah, poor Norm. And then, so he thinks he's crazy, and like, I don't think the movie's strong enough. He's trying to fight this evil in the house, and he just doesn't just leave. Like, it doesn't. Yeah. Like, there was no reason for him to stay. Like,
well, you know what it was too? Like,
he just went there to get relaxation.
He went there to write.
Yeah, he wasn't going to plan on living there.
No.
So
but I think this movie fits into that thing where there's really great horror movies, and then there's crappy horror movies, and they're so bad I love them. This is somewhere a little bit higher than that. That is just it's not good. It's not bad. It's not so bad it's great.
But people say they loved it, and I don't. It's not my.
They made a pile of these movies.
I think in the 80s you remember seeing this in the 80s because there's a part 2. There might be a 3, but I think it was a part 2 for sure.
And you know what? You just nailed it. Maybe
people just remember that.
Maybe you would have had love for this movie if you saw it around the time when you saw Saturday the 14th and grew up with it.
I don't think
We're coming at this with fresh eyes in 2021.
I feel like I did see it though, because that bat skeleton sounds familiar.
People, when I posted this, people were like, "Oh, that's a classic." I'm like, "Awesome, okay,
a classic."
Cool.
But did you like it?
They probably have this nostalgia for it.
Yeah, but I think if they rewatch it, I think all 3 of us watching it that night were just waiting for it to get over. And after that, we watched Zomboat and had such a much better time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it's worth a rewatch. If you want to go to the end and see the skeleton do the gun thing, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you could probably find that on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Fun fact, and then we'll walk away from this movie, never to talk about it again.
Which he should have done with the house.
William Catt appears in House 3.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know.
I don't know if we're going to continue watching them. I think it just get worse and worse.
I'd watch House Party instead.
Yeah. Anything's better than that.
Why didn't they make a Halloween House Party? House Party 4. Halloween Party.
We're getting through this pretty quick.
Isn't there a costume? It doesn't matter. We're talking about House Party.
Yeah, I say we're getting through this pretty quick. We're at 36 minutes and we're already on. We only have 3 left.
Look at that.
We're doing 8 every week now because there's more days this month. There's 31 days and it's a week's obviously 7. There's still going to be like 3 or 4.
Oh my God, off. Day number 13.
Okay, so this is day 13. Can you guess? It's a classic.
I'd never seen this movie until last year.
You can do their whole review on that?
Maybe. Probably not.
Yeah. I've always loved this character, Sam.
Did you always love it, or did you just sort of see it year after year during Halloween?
Year after year, I loved... No, I was attracted to this character. Not in that way, but I was attracted to the aesthetic of the character, and I kept buying Sam stuff. I had never seen the movie. I was like, I should probably watch the movie, even though I don't know what the hell it is. And then, like, was it last year we watched it?
Last year we watched it as part of our 31 days. We watched it for the first time. Was not what I thought it was going to be. Really, really liked it.
Yep.
And now this is going on our list as every year because it's just a classic.
And watching this last year, I was like, why is there so many separate stories? And I realized why there's so many separate stories this time. Like, it made more sense this time. And I just love it more now. Like, watching it again makes me love it even more. Yeah. Like, it's such a good story. And this is my Halloween costume this year.
Yeah. We're going to a Halloween party on the 30th.
And I'm going to cut some ankles.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I should have blood on this.
So you always got to take it up a notch.
I know. It seems like it's too clean. I need to, like, paint blood.
Why don't you replace it with a real razor? Well,
that's what they were doing in the movie.
There's so many funny deaths in this movie, but I don't know. You're absolutely right. Seeing this movie for a second time, I got more out of it because I really enjoyed the storytelling technique that they used the first time, and I remember thinking like, "Oh, this is not as scary as I thought it was going to be." And then watching it again this year, just absolutely loved it. This again, 5 out of 5 for me.
I said Sam's face. I do have some notes, surprisingly, because when I'm into a movie, I forget to take notes unless it's really bad. And I'm just like, son of a bitch, this movie sucks. Okay. Sam's face changes to the moon for the scene change. That was cool.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So his face changes to the moon. Like when they do a fade out, like and they go through his head and then it goes to the moon. I thought that was super, super cool.
Right.
I said Sam was cool with the other murderers.
Yeah, did not notice that.
He was good he was like, what's up?
Right. So like especially to that girl and the whole school bus situation.
They just looked at each other like,
they acknowledged
we're doing our classic murder because they're not respecting Halloween.
Right. She walked away with her pumpkin and he walked
with his candy.
He walked forward with his wagon.
Yeah, he was done. He's like, hey, what's up?
Totally fine.
You're doing your job tonight. I'm doing mine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Neat play with the timeline. If you've seen this movie, again, we're kind of we're not heavily spoiling it, but we're talking.
But I find that this whole town is fucked up. There's a lot of fucked up people in this town because we've got the wolf girls and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The more I watch it, the more I love it. I said that.
Yeah.
There needs to be a separate movie for the wolf girls.
Oh yeah.
I really want to see more of that.
Right. This one is shocking that there hasn't been a sequel because this is a beloved cult classic, and I think the filmmaker has been trying to make another one for years. I don't know why he could not get financing. Shudder, why have you not financed the Blumhouse? Why have you not?
He's making money off merchandise from us. He should be able to finance a movie now.
It's just really strange that there hasn't been
maybe
this
they don't want to ruin
it.
Maybe they feel like they don't have a story strong enough yet. You know, I originally thought he was like an alien, but when he was stabbed, pumpkin seeds and string came out of Sam, and I didn't notice that the first time.
Didn't catch that the first time.
So, and then I don't get why he has human hands.
Because he's a pumpkin man.
When we're in Spirit Halloween and I see that little Sam there that I love, we actually have the animated Sam over there too. Mm-hmm. Every time I see the animated guy, his hands are just. I don't get the human hands. Should they not be orange?
Yeah.
Should they be pumpkiny?
Should be stem-like.
Should they be like mittens?
He does have mittens, and the hand does run around.
He's not really mittens; they just go over his hand.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, the little hands throws me off of the characters. The only thing I would change about his character is making his hands go with the rest of his body. Because are you saying his head is just orange and pumpkiny, and the rest of his body is like human white?
I guess so.
Like that's the only aesthetic thing I think is weird.
Human white might be the most offensive thing you've ever said on this podcast.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, he's got an orange and a white body.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. What does he look like naked?
He's...
Let's see his pumpkin.
No. He's also the cutest of all of the serial killers in Halloween genres.
Gremlin.
Gremlins aren't cute. There's cute gremlins.
Gremlins
and then there's
murders.
The ugly gremlins.
They're
murder.
Cute. I have the one that wears lipstick.
That's true.
They're adorable.
Yeah, that's true.
The really dorky one with like teeth and he's watching a movie.
I guess so.
Gremlins.
Okay.
They're cute.
Next day. What is the next day?
What I think we forgot the days. I think Trick or Treat was 13.
Okay, so obviously I'm giving this movie a 5 out of 5. You're giving it a 5 out of 5. Trick or Treat, if you haven't seen it, it's a classic. Mm-hmm. I would bet that if you enjoy it, you're going to watch it year after year.
Did you have any notes? I haven't heard you do any notes.
I have been very much like a jazz musician here tonight, in that fact that I did not snake jazz. I didn't have a lot of notes when I was watching these. Some of these mainly because either I hated it at the time and made a quick snap judgment of I hated this movie.
You don't hate
type. But also Trick or Treat. Let me see if I have any notes. A classic, even better a second time. That's all I wrote.
You're just.
And then I didn't have any notes.
That's what you say to me all the time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, I know. And then the movie before, I didn't have any notes either because House.
Just shit.
It just pissed me off. I knew I had enough hatred in my heart for House. I knew that I would remember the things that I hated about.
I have more hatred for the Malignant thing.
Malignant, yeah.
Malignant, yeah. Day 14.
Okay.
Is P2.
P2.
You know, parking structure, level P2.
Definitely when we saw this title and we watched I don't think we watched the trailer first. We watched a scene from this movie.
Well, okay, first we found out about this movie from Adam the Woo, who had a friend with him. He's a YouTuber. Okay. He had a friend with him, and they were going to some kind of horror thing. Yeah. And she's like, "This reminds me of P2," and I'm like, "What is P2?" She is explaining the movie in his video, and I was like, "Well, we need to watch P2 because it sounds amazing." Right. And this was on Tubi. I believe it was on Tubi. It was 2007. It was a crime, horror, and a thriller. This one.
You are 100% right. It's on Tubi.
Yeah, and it was filmed in Toronto, and I had a feeling it was filmed in like Eaton Center or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and my only note was horrifying for sure and bothersome tense. That's all I wrote. Like there was a lot of, it was fucked up, basically. It was this is what you want to call like a horror film for sure, because this is like super disturbing. It qualifies, it checks off all the boxes. Super disturbing. So fucked up. Like you liked it a lot less than I did. You had problems with this movie. You didn't like it?
No, I'm saying you like it less than I did.
No, I don't hate it, but it really got to me. Like it's like watching murders, right? And it's a horrifying murder, and you're bothered. They did that. They were successful at bothering me to the core that I was like really disturbed.
This movie contains like what we don't like, which is really some graphic, gruesome deaths. You didn't like the whole torture aspect of it. I'm not saying torture. I like that either.
I don't like torture, especially when it comes to women.
Yeah.
Just because it's awful. And it's something that really does happen to people.
Absolutely.
And it's just... Yeah. It's so disturbing. It's about a security guy who's obsessed with a girl in the building. Yeah. And it's Christmas.
A businesswoman is
it's a Christmas movie, by the way.
A businesswoman is pursued by a psychopath after being locked in a parking garage on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we're not going to watch this movie on Christmas. She's working late. She's the last one out of the building. Yeah. And, of course, she gets stuck in the building, and then he makes her car not work. And so she can't drive to her parents, so she's stuck, and she's out waiting for an Uber or something.
Right.
And, of course, he kills a security guard.
Right.
And so she can't get out the front door. She sees the car pull up to get her, but the door's locked, so she can't get out. Right. So she's like going back down to the security guard. Right. And she's like, I can't get out, because she already had a conversation with him before in the garage.
Right.
And he was trying to help her start her car or whatever.
Right.
Even though he's the one who fucked up her car. Right. So it just starts from there where he's trying to be helpful and stuff, and it just goes worse and worse, and he starts looking more freakier and freakier.
Very, very creepy, and then dude.
The creepiest thing, I almost don't want to ruin it because it's so fucked up, but the creepiest thing is him knocking her out at some point, and then her waking up in totally different clothes, like sexy, like date clothes, like a white dress, boobs out, hair's down, lips, even makeup is slightly done, or slightly done, and she didn't even realize. She knew that she was in different clothes, but she didn't really realize like what happened to get there.
Right.
Until later, because he filmed it. He filmed her like getting her dress, touching her boobs and that stuff. Like, and she's passed out, and I'm just like so disturbed over this. Yeah. That disturbed me more than anything. But then like, I guess there was a guy in her office who hit on her at the Christmas party.
Right.
And he apologized to her later, because he's like, I know it was uncalled for. I just had a baby, and I just am under stress, which is not an excuse for any man.
Yeah.
And so she forgives him, but then
he saw it on the watching the like that.
He saw the harassment in the elevator. It was in the elevator. He saw the harassment in the elevator, and then he fucking murders him. Yeah.
He thinks that he's helping her out by murdering this guy
in front of her.
Yeah.
Like, after he gets her captive.
Her to murder him.
Yeah, after he gets her captive, he puts her in a car and drives to the parking garage, and he's sitting in a chair tied to a chair in the parking garage.
Yeah. Gruesome.
He does some really disturbing stuff to him, and he keeps doing it. The guy's dead.
Yeah.
And he's still going even further to make him more dead.
Right.
Like, he just keeps making him more dead. And I do not want to ruin that scene, because you're going to be horrified when you watch it.
Right.
Because it's so disturbing.
Now, I'm by no means giving this movie a 5 out of 5. There are things that happen in this movie.
I'm not going to give it a 5
which I know you're not. But there's things that happened in this movie which bothered me, which was just like, well, there's no... But if you did these things, then the movie would just be over. The fact is, every building in the world always has doors that you can get out of, but you can't get back through. In a parking garage, there's multiple exits. There's fire exits. She should have been able to get out of this parking lot.
She should have been able to, but they did show chains on some of the doors. Like, he had time to chain all the doors.
Like, well, we don't know how long she was knocked out for. We don't know how long
she couldn't get back upstairs because you need a key to go up.
There was another security guard in this movie who sort of indicated the building was going to be completely locked down for the next 2 days. So, yeah, maybe they were going to be chaining up all the doors.
They were trying to cover their tracks.
I'm just saying that those things frustrate me.
They do frustrate me.
And they should never have happened. But you've only done it so you can tell your story about how much of a lunatic this guy is and how you can make this woman hell. Make it hell for this woman.
Yeah, and he had a dog, too, that was very vicious. And there was a very horrible scene of her murdering the dog because the dog was trying to kill her, too.
Yeah. But I liked her performance. I liked how strong she was. I liked how she was strong. She was in a movie that was very uncomfortable to watch.
There was moments where she could have made a better decision. She did a good job, though, getting out of the situation. But I don't know. I kind of feel like the guy was creepy from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
She should just... I don't know. I feel like there's something should have been different. Maybe she shouldn't have worked late. I don't know. I don't know. You'll have to watch and see what you think, because...
Well, the other thing is, too, so she meets up, or she takes an elevator ride with another security guard who knows her. Oh, actually, no, he's up locking in the upstairs, and she's leaving. They run into each other. Guy. They surprise each other. she's like, oh, let me go down with you. Like he's gonna walk her down basically. He's like, well, that makes sense. I used to work in an office tower, and sometimes late at night we would go down in partners because we had to go through a weird freaky stairwell, and there were some homeless people in there sometimes. So we buddy system. It's just a smart thing to do.
If he would have went all the way down,
why didn't he take her all the way to her car?
He would have walked her to her car and saw her car was broken down.
Yeah,
and then said, okay, come back up with me.
Well, guess what? That would have killed the whole movie.
Yeah, because she would have came back up with him. He would have stayed there with her until their Uber came, and then the guy would have never had a chance to kill him.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There is a scene in here. It brought up the question to me, which is, what movie has your favorite elevator scene? They had an elevator scene in here that was actually pretty good. It was interesting. I'd never seen anything like that happen before. I thought it was quite clever.
Yeah.
My favorite elevator scene, though, was Die Hard, because that has the best elevator thing ever. If you can think of another one, write it in the comments, because I'd love to know. Let's talk elevator scenes.
There's been some good elevator scenes in a lot of movies.
Oh, there absolutely has.
Yeah. I feel like I just cut out there, but it could have been my mic.
Sidetracked.
Yeah, I didn't hate this movie. It was good to add a sort of movie that's disturbing to our watching thing. It just, when it has to do with women being tortured, it really hits home with me.
Yeah.
It's just bothersome.
Totally get that.
I feel like the movie was well done. I don't gravitate towards these movies, but I did in some sense like it. Just the murder scenes were just over the top. Like, way more than it needed to be. Very graphic.
So if there was less gore in this, if there was less, I mean, murder is shocking. Murder is awful. Murder is all of these things, but these things were just gruesome. So would you have liked it less? Or I think you'd still be really bothered by it just because of the torture, the nature of it, and what she was going through.
Yeah, it's. I would think I'd say 80% I really like the movie, but then there's that 20% where, especially the guy getting killed, the guy that harassed her in the elevator, getting killed so awful, and didn't deserve that kind of death,
right?
And then that one moment where he was already pretty much fucked up, and
he was dead. I mean, he
wasn't dead yet.
He was going to die.
He was pretty much dead,
and then went back.
And then when the car was coming at him again, he looked as what was left of his head left. He looked up, and it was like, like I was just like, oh.
So
it was a lot.
Out of a 5, I'm gonna guess your score.
If you really want to be, no, it's not very low. I would say I would give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Because I feel like, as far as like hitting the bang on for a horror film and a suspense thriller, I guess, is it a thriller?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, absolutely.
It got it. It banged it. If you want to be disturbed, that's the one to watch. I mean, there's a lot of them that are disturbed, but like that one is.
It is categorized as a crime, horror, and thriller, and
it is kind of a crime horror, for sure. But he did get his day at the end. The security guard, he got a really terrible death.
Yeah, he did.
So, but yeah,
which is absolutely what you want in this scenario.
And there was a point where cops actually showed up, but they missed everything. They missed all the hints. Like,
I thought those cops were gonna die.
I thought they were gonna die too, but they didn't.
They got free.
Yeah.
Well, they were never. It never revealed what was going on.
I do recommend it to watch. Just be aware that it is really fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to check one thing, because I thought the person that wrote this was involved in something else that we watched. Yes, this on Alexandra AJ.
Is that Supergirl?
No.
Her name is Rachel Nicholas.
Rachel Nicholas is the star of this movie, Angela.
The guy who played security guard was Wes Bentley.
Yeah, he was played. She's in G.I. Joe. She was in Star Trek, Amityville from 2005, Continuum.
She does look like Supergirl a little bit.
She does.
Yeah.
Great actress.
Yeah, she did a good job.
Alexandre Aja was involved in one of the other movies that we watched.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like a leeway from something else we watched.
Okay, I'm doing this in reverse order. He also directed
the next
movie that we watch later.
The next movie we're going to talk about.
Okay. So, he's the fucked up individual that came up with this thing then.
I don't think it's a horrible movie. I think it was a good movie. It hits the marks for what you want it to be as far as like a horror film / crime mystery, not mystery, but crime, whatever. Yeah. It hit the mark.
So what's interesting,
I think it's worth watching. Just be aware that there's some really messed up scenes.
Interesting. So before you gave your score, I was thinking myself a 3 out of 5, and then you went 3.5.
Only because the stars I took off are the fact that there's things she could have done. That I hate when movies ignore the fact that there is ways for her out of the building. There's always going to be a way for you out of a building because that's the nature of buildings. There's emergency exits and I don't know.
That's exactly right.
She could have taken any one of those other cars and she could have knocked out the door, the fence that comes down.
She did try that.
She ran into the fence?
She almost made it to the fence.
Oh, but they never showed her hit the fence, though.
No. He came in and T-boned her.
No, but there was a part in the time where she was by herself in the garage for a long period of time. Yeah. And he was off singing Elvis songs. Right. And she could have taken any one of those cars in the front.
She's not a hot wire car. She got car keys later.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But there's just moments where she could have easily, and also the booth right by the fence where you come into a parking garage probably has a button. Yeah. To open it. Yeah. Right?
There's lots of little things like that. Yeah. That I wish a little bit more time would have explained why things failed for her. But why she couldn't get through.
No, I'm thinking about there is buttons inside the booth where the guys take your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like it needs a computer to do it. No. It's a button.
So it's interesting that you're saying you recommend watching it.
I recommend watching it because if you really want a good, disturbing movie.
I guess, yeah.
They both do really good playing their roles.
Right. Yeah.
But wow, and when she goes and watches the video of him dressing her is so messed up. Yeah. Like, it's just too close to, like, anything that could possibly really happen in real life.
Yeah, true. Let's get to day 15. And this is a movie which I had never heard of before.
Never.
Which is really bizarre because it stars Danny Rad.
Harry Potter.
Daniel Radcliffe. I've been calling him Danny Rad recently.
That should be his name, Danny Rad.
If he was in a BMX movie and his name was Danny Rad.
Yes.
Like, that'd be fucking awesome.
He's like a champion surfer.
BMX guy.
Or BMX. Yeah.
Surfing. I think I attribute Rad to being like more of a BMX skateboard.
Do you think when he's on a cliff, he's like, this is a rad cliff?
Oh. Yeah.
He had to make the joke at some points.
If he was... This movie... What did you think of this movie?
Horns? We should probably say the name of it.
The movie's called Horns.
Horns. Yeah, Horns.
We watched this, I think, on Shudder.
Yeah.
Let me get the year, because this movie came out in 2014, which I think is first of all, 2014, and those Harry Potter movies, again, finished like 10, 12 years ago.
He tends to, you need to speak into your mic.
10 years ago, I think, at least. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I know Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe has done several movies since then. Mm-hmm. I had no idea he's done this many movies since then.
I feel like when he picks movies, he picks them because they're very weird and interesting.
Good God, yes.
I think if he's ever in a movie again, I will be like, is he the one with the razor boy? Where he plays a dead person the whole time? And
yeah.
Okay, I have to watch that one.
I know.
It makes me laugh when I see it. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but I know he's like flying around. It's a dead body.
It's called like Swiss Army Man or something like that.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's, but different.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So let me read the synopsis of this. In the aftermath of his girlfriend's mysterious death, a young man awakens to find strange horns sprouting from his forehead. This movie... Again, I thought it was going down a path, and then it ended up being like a much stronger script than I thought it was. I thought it was just going to
be like a crime movie, like
but I also
finding
just
the murder of the girlfriend, the murder of the girlfriend.
But I started watching this movie going, what is this piece of shit? And why is Daniel Radcliffe in it? And then it's really great.
It's also filmed here in Squamish.
Oh, that's right.
It's all in Squamish.
Yeah.
The thing said filmed Vancouver and Squamish, but I feel like most of it was done in Squamish. The Vancouver part was probably like editing and behind other stuff.
Well, just minimal shots, I think.
Maybe indoor stuff. Yeah. I don't know. But a lot of it was in Squamish. And I recognize it because it's right by the spit. Most of it happened. The biggest scenes happened by the spit across the way at the factory. Mm-hmm. And I remember that from you kiteboarding there.
Yeah.
Okay, so his girlfriend is murdered.
Yes.
And he's trying to figure out who did it because the whole town thinks he did it.
Whole town thinks he did it. So there's like the news outside, or like all the reporters are outside his window. Mm-hmm. People really, really dislike him.
Yeah.
You learn a little bit more about their relationship. Mm-hmm. They've been like, since they were kids, they've kind of been friends and were in love. Mm-hmm. They're older now, so I guess they're in their like mid-20s. It's first love.
First love and probably forever love. They both love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so...
There's more to it that gets revealed later. Mm-hmm. He's growing these horns. Not everybody sees it.
Well, the horns has to do with the devil. Yeah. Like that he needed the devil in order to figure this out, basically.
Right. So he's trying to solve and prove himself innocent. Mm-hmm. The father of the fiance or girlfriend, is basically obviously pissed off and coming after him.
Written him off, but he's not going to kill him. But he's like, what are you doing here? Like things like that. But the thing is when he starts growing horns, not everybody can see them.
But when these happen too, there's also some powers that start happening. Mm-hmm. Like he's turning into something, but he becomes obsessed with figuring out what happened, proving himself innocent. And then there's some other things at play from people around him that are trying to help him out. Maybe they're not.
But he's like, do you see these horns? Why don't you see these horns? And he's like, oh, because people are wearing like crosses or believe in like God. Yeah. Don't see it. So,
which I guess is them not seeing bad in just people?
If you take the cross off, you will see it. You'll see the horns.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's interesting. It's such a weird combination of things, but totally works. Like
and some great visuals in this movie. Just some beautiful.
Well, you can't go wrong in
stuff.
Squamish. Squamish is very pretty.
That true. Yeah. But also just some visuals of the things and things that he's experiencing and the things that he's going through. There's some very beautiful cinematic things happening.
Yes, and once it gets towards the end, like there was a surprise kill at the end. Multiple surprises. It actually surprised me tons of times. Yeah. Like, I was just like, and at the very end, I was just like, whoa, I did not. I jumped out of my chair because I was so shocked.
Right. This is the one we don't want to spoil.
I don't want to spoil it because it's good. Like, all these people in the movie are all childhood friends. They all went to school together, but one's like a cop of the town. He doesn't really like him. Right. And he's never liked him. But the one girl that was his girlfriend was the only girl in their group of boys. Right. And they basically all had a crush on her. Yeah. So, and there's like, why do you have her? I wanted her. She was mine, and so forth. Right. And it had to do with his brother too. Is sort of semi involved in this too. Right. So. Right. Yeah, and
again, we will not spoil the reason. We'll not spoil. There's some stuff happening.
But there's also some messed up stuff with the parents. Like he gets people are saying things to him they never would say, but they're actually saying it to him.
Oh, great point.
Like his parents were saying, I need you to I want you to leave. I don't want you to be a part of our life. You're no longer my kid. And they're only saying this because his powers are making them say these things. Right. Like maybe these are things they thought of. Right. They're thinking, and their mom and dad are brutally honest with him.
The parents think that he killed him. So there's in one hand they're like supporting him and trying to help him out and getting him lawyers. The other side is that as he's evolving, their real truth is being spoken to him, and then that's how things are adjusting.
That was really hard to listen to, like, because that's awful. Right. Like for your parents to tell you that they don't want to. You're no longer my son. I need you to leave and never come back. God, it was awful. Very, very disappointing. Not as far as that, but disappointing in your parents for them to tell you that. Yeah.
How did we not hear about this movie?
I don't know.
What the hell were we doing in 2015?
It was filmed here. We had Daniel Radcliffe running around our town for a while, probably multiple times. He's probably been here for other things. But all I wrote, my notes were only loved it. That was my only note.
Yeah. Definitely watch this movie. This was by far, I mean, I assume you're going to give this 5 out of 5?
Yes. I'm also going to rate this as my favorite movie out of all the movies we watched, because I can't really count.
Even out of week 1?
No, out of this week.
Out of this week, okay.
Wow. First week we said Revenge was our favorite, so this week it'll be Horns for me, because I can't include Saturday the 14th or Trick or Treat because we already know those are awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to include Horns as the best one of the week.
Let me ask you this: if you had to pick Revenge or Horns, which is your favorite movie?
Dang. Maybe Horns, just because it was so weird.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're both good, because Revenge is a British movie, and I can't. British do everything better as far as movies go.
I don't know if this is kind of a British movie as well.
No, because it's not.
This is American.
It's all Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, 2 fantastic movies that we've never heard of. Mm-hmm. Horns, definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm. And Horns we watched on Tubi, shockingly.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that on.
Because we did P2 and Horns that on Tubi.
And that's probably how we even discovered Horns, because there it was, and we're like, what the frick is Daniel Radcliffe doing there?
Is this like a Hobbit thing?
Daniel Radcliffe?
It kind of looks like it's like a Hobbit thing or something, but it's not. You wouldn't know that it was like a horror genre film. You would not know. And it actually, oops, I was gonna go see what it said it was. I think it was crime. Did we determine it was fantasy horror thriller? But it was also a crime. I would say fantasy horror thriller crime.
According to IMDb, comedy, crime, and drama.
Well, there's some comedy in there, sure.
There absolutely was.
It's all the things.
He is so good in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was good. And it makes me want to watch more of his stuff.
We are going to have to watch more of his stuff for sure. Because
he kind of has a Harry Potter vibe in it too, though.
Well, what's interesting is he's still when I looked it up, I think he was around 22 when he finished Harry Potter. So in this movie, he's probably 24, 25. Came out in 2014.
I thought he said he had the best hair in this movie.
Sure. Okay. Good hair.
Yeah, I remember good hair.
I mean, he is going to benefit from looking, I think, younger for a while to come here. But he's a great performer. And I didn't see him as Harry Potter anymore. I didn't see him as Daniel Radcliffe. No, but he embodied this role, and he was so entertaining. I think he
likes really strange roles,
and good for him.
Good storylines. So I feel like when you pick stuff, I know I should watch it because it's probably going to be good. I don't know if he's done anything that I hated. I need to look at the rest of his stuff. Now it makes me want to watch the Dead one where he's dead. I think
November is Danny Rad month.
Danny Rad.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We're definitely going to watch more.
Well, he's done more than 30 movies probably now.
I looked up. He's done 41.
Okay.
Some of it are TV appearances. Some of it are other things. But there's a crap
just straight
ton
up
of
movies.
Yeah. Anyway, man, that's it. That's our list. That is week 2. Some great, some less than great.
That's a loud
cup.
Cup.
And some stuff that was very disturbing.
Yeah, and our next week's gonna be pretty good. I think next week is gonna make up for. Well, there's a couple bad ones next week, but it's gonna make up for a lot of shitty ones this week. I think how many shitty ones we have? 1, 2, 3. 3 bad ones.
This week?
The week 2, the one we just did. The one we just did now.
That's what I mean.
3 bad ones.
Well, that's not bad out of 8 movies.
Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 8.
Well, we're batting pretty well, even though the stinkers were not that great.
Well, we try to find things. A lot of times we try to find things that we haven't seen before, but it's hard not to sprinkle in stuff like Trick or Treat because that's just, you have to watch it.
Yeah.
And Muppets just happened to pop up, and I was like, I want to watch this, so we're including it in our 31 days. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd love to hear what you guys are watching. If you've watched any of these movies or are going to watch them, let us know. I'd love to hear it in the comments. What did you think? What do you recommend? What are you watching?
Yeah, what is your definition of horror films? I mean, there's a clear definition in the dictionary of horror films. But
there is a wide range.
I'm interested to see, when I say it to someone like your mom, they immediately think slasher.
Yeah, blood and guts, gore. Heavy, disturbing, which is funny because if you mention somebody like my mom that's probably watched sort of suspenseful things and really enjoyed that.
Does she like Hitchcock?
I feel like she would.
I feel like a lot of Hitchcock's movies fall into that category.
There's a lot of great
Birds falls into that category.
Yeah, there's a lot of great dramas out there that are suspenseful that I think a lot of people enjoy but don't think that that's separate from being horror.
I actually think Rope falls into that category.
Rope is fucking fantastic.
But also, it falls into the category.
No blood, no
Still
gore.
Still scary.
But really a great story.
I think the scariest thing about these kind of movies is the suspense and the thrill.
Always.
Like the unknown. It's like, I actually enjoy more of the ghostly movies, the haunts. I think that's more of my favorite kind.
Then maybe that's what we'll move into next.
But we have moved into that. We have gone into a lot of the next week's, a lot of haunts movies. But, the next week we're going to be doing a podcast on, which we need to do next, is there's a lot of ghost in this next one, which really, that's this next upcoming week.
There's a trilogy of movies that I've never seen as an adult.
Yeah.
I saw the first one as a young age.
Yeah.
It's going to be Poltergeist, and I've never seen the other two. So we're going to watch that.
There's lots more than that we watched, but they're all like movies that have actually like scared me again.
Right.
Like that's the scare I love about Halloween.
Right.
Like ghosts and witches and stuff like that. That's where I get really freaked out.
I'm a bit of a wuss, and that puts me into
it makes you kind of a believer in a way too, because if you're that scared, like after we watch these movies, you're like you're afraid to go to bed.
I was.
Yeah. So
it puts me into my out of my comfort zone, and also I have an active imagination.
And if I stand at the side and start whispering creepy things, he's like, "Stop it!"
It's not great.
See, and that to me is scarier than someone slashing you to death.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's just horrifying.
Thanks for watching, everyone. This episode is sponsored by what's it called?
Hoolie Ho.
Hoolie Ho. Yeah.
You can't even. That's just the sound of me stabbing Scott.
Yep. Slice the ankles. Slice the ankles. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next time,
goodbye humans.
Stay away from parking garages, especially level P2.
We have been parking on P2. Like this last week, we kept parking on P2. I was like, we can never park on P2 again.
No, we can't.
No.
Yeah.
The very end when he jumps through his medicine cabinet.
Hold on a second.
Okay.